so mean.
Allegedly.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
so silly.
So look at a new set, trying to make it look a little bit cooler over here. Even So Mean looks different now. And by the way, I did fix So Mean even in the intro video, if you noticed. It wasn't the old So Mean. Yeah.
See, he's very creative, this guy. He worked on this for quite a while yesterday.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we kept going back and forth. Well, she kept, because she does graphic design. She's over there. Well, I mean, I don't know about, I had it like a purple kind of fading, but I was trying to use the color palette that she provided originally. You like that?
Purple and pink, though. I'm like,
you like that terminology? The color palette? That was pretty good, yeah.
That was pretty decent, yeah. See, I moved my stuff around, so now I'm looking this way and you're over there because I moved my stuff because I'm crazy. I should have realized that was going to happen.
And now I'm going to have to move you over a little bit because you slid over just since the show started.
I know.
Awesome. Good times. Good times.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, my husband and daughter are out in a helicopter right now, so I'm having panic attacks.
Are they in the air in the helicopter?
Yes, they are. Yeah, and they're sending me photos.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah. They're up in a helicopter. Something I would never do.
At least they have the guts to do it. I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, they're adventurous. Alex and Scott, they are wild.
I hate flying just in general. Every time I'm up in the air, I say this to myself: how in the hell is this thing even up in the air right now? And what are we doing here?
I'm the same. I am like this the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like,
what I try to
go.
do, I try to look at the people that are reading books and say, "Wow, okay, it's cool." But whenever there's enough turbulence where the guy reading the book is shitting their pants, then it's just not fun for the rest of us. Okay.
No, I always imagine. Okay, thousands of people fly a day, Tracy. Like nothing's going to happen to you. Chill out.
Right.
And then, I just convince myself that all of these other people aren't dead. So why am I so nervous?
Yeah. I've often thought what they should do is take the masks that come down for oxygen. Mm-hmm. They should put like ether in those. So you could just go, okay, and just, if something did happen, maybe you're not awake, Why do we need to be awake? Yeah.
Good night. That is a really good idea, actually. And I agree with you. That is what they should do because flying's not fun. Let's just say that flying's not fun.
That's exactly right.
Joseph's sister. So, all right. I'm just going to share the video with her as well so that she's got it.
Yeah, we're going to be covering Joseph Smedley today. This is one in Chasing Truth made me aware of. It's pretty interesting. It's it's one of those other ones where it's it was ruled a suicide, but when you look at the evidence in it, you're kind of wondering why they were so quick to choose that when the evidence around it is pretty compelling. But before we get to that, there is the breaking news regarding Chris McDonough, right, in the interview room, that his channel was taken down for what the message says is something like extreme bullying and some other things, and we the thing is we've seen this going on, and some people actually finally said something about it, and I think it was really the Twitter person, because he's had over 1,000 threats against him, and he's just some guy on Twitter. He isn't Brian Laundrie, okay? And so I don't know if it was just sort of a combination of other people saying something. I guarantee it wasn't a mass, like a reporting event that somebody did. I think it was just over time, I mean,
you don't think it was a mass coordinated attack or anything?
No, I don't think so. No, because I think the Twitter individual, if it was mass, it was organic, meaning that people saw what was going on with the Twitter individual and just saying, you have no evidence at all. This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. And did a reporting. It's never cool. It doesn't make you happy when I guess you could say that, it's not, doesn't make you happy when somebody's account gets closed, but maybe it'll teach a lesson. Like if you ever get to come back, that you do it differently than that. I mean, because these are allegations that were made against people that it didn't just stop there on the one show. It continues behind the scenes, and people message these people and threaten them, and then it becomes really like terroristic. It's horrible.
Yeah, you got to be very, very careful. I also contributed to the Twitter thing. I know there are a lot of rumors going around right now and different opinions. If it was due to the Twitter thing, I think that it will stand, probably. But if it wasn't, then I don't know the full story there, and I'm not very interested to find out either. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that it was like a mass event by somebody else, but it just seems like this Twitter thing is right at the same time, and he had a lawyer, the guy got, and he'd been threatened over 1,000 times, and then it continued. Like there was another video again trying to go after these little tweets and so forth. It's just it's mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to turn out. I have a feeling he'll probably get back on to YouTube, but if he does, I hope he learns something. Despite your credentials, you can't just start going around and accusing people left and right. And it's just, you can't do that stuff, especially if you have the credentials, because people believe it more when you say that you used to be a detective and you were one, and then all of a sudden you're putting out information. Well, gosh, it has to be true, like Don was in the shed.
Be careful with that.
Yeah.
You have to really be careful with that.
Like that Don Wells was in the shed. Those kind of comments,
Yeah.
No, they didn't let me go there because he was in there, Well, no evidence.
That one was something else, but goodness. Yeah, a lot of people know the whole backstory of other things that have happened far before you may have known who Chris was. I didn't know who he was. But before all of this, I guess there were other issues going on with other YouTubers or people who were covering cases, I guess. So I don't know. I guess this is a history, a pattern. I really don't know. So.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I agree with what your last part after the comma. But yeah, it is dangerous. And I think what the person on Twitter tweeted, if this was a younger person with all those threats, they may have harmed themselves. And it's totally that is exactly what happens.
In today's day and age, yeah. I mean, you see a lot of that regardless. So you just don't know. You don't know who's behind the keyboard of the person that you're talking to. And subscribers can be aggressive, and they will go after people if you are having an issue with them. So you've just got to be extremely careful. So
I don't really have much more to add to that. I support the people that were being victimized, bullied in that way. That was really horrific. I mean, I think you even had what's that individual's name? Well, I don't know if he didn't say it, but he was just a regular, like a viewer. He had a name, and then he got put up on the screen over there and was just harassed.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I Am Veritas guy.
Yeah, I guess it's not really a real name, so it's not like it's giving away anything. Yeah, and so that was kind of that was that first moment during a show. I was like, wow, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
And so that just kind of led to more and more, and then now it's kind of snowballed out of control. So, all right, let's get.
It has also an update on.
Oh yeah,
the Marcarno case. Out of Florida. Gray posted on his community wildlife posted that around 10:45 this morning, they believe that they did find her remains. It was confirmed by the Orange County coroners or sheriff's office rather, that it was her and that their thoughts were with the family. Seems her purse and other things were found with her off in the woods somewhere. So we wanted to update on that as
Yeah,
well.
I'll try to find the location so I can see where it was in relation to the other. But later, not now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, let's
All right.
let's get started on Joseph Smedley and see what's going on here.
Okay, so on Facebook, I have this other group, and currently we had been just talking mostly about Gabby, but I put up an area for other cases, and there were several, that were put in, and this one caught my eye. Typically, it wouldn't, because, a lot of times a family member will commit suicide, and it's very difficult for the family to accept that. And, you may read about it. It may be interesting, but you're kind of like, I don't want to go down this road and cover something where it probably was suicide. But there is a podcast on this and a page that his sister created. And the more I read and the more I looked into it, the more I was convinced that something doesn't feel right here. So I sent it over to Gray and said, what do you think? Because he's the more logical black and white of the two of us. So if he thought Tracy is definitely suicide, he would have said it immediately. He's not just going to humor me. So I just want to know what you think. Here's everything that I found. What do you think? So we both felt this doesn't feel right. And we are in contact with his sister. We're going to have a Zoom call with her on Tuesday, and then we'll probably air that maybe Friday, because Wednesday and Thursday I'm away on a work thing. So maybe Friday if we have time. And we'll put the podcast and a link to Justice for Joseph. That's the name of the Facebook page. We'll put that in the description after this, so that if you guys want to go listen to it, you can do that. So you want to get started? Okay.
Yeah, but where do we want to go? To where you're sharing?
Yeah, where I'm sharing. I won't share until
okay, but right. Let's try
we count it down together.
1,
here.
2, 3, share. Hey, there we go.
Look at that.
Look at this cool new set, though.
A millisecond off there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah. All right,
look at that. Look what Gray's done. Okay, so the young man we're talking about is Joseph Smedley. And Joseph was found in Griffy Lake. His death was ruled a suicide. Okay. He went missing on September 28th of 2015, and he was found 5 days later. So the question that we're now asking is, does the evidence that they've gathered support the finding of suicide? So this is just a little bit about Joseph. He was born to Dr. Joseph and Laura Smedley. His parents divorced when he was about 10 years old, and he didn't adjust well to the divorce. And it caused friction between himself and his dad. So when he was an older teenager, he moved in with a family of one of his friends. And at that point, him and his dad no longer spoke. He graduated from high school. He went on to college at Indiana University in Bloomington. Am I saying that right? Bloomington, right, Greg?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. During his freshman year, he was straight A's and B's. From all accounts, Joseph was a brilliant young man. He was just like one of those extremely smart people. In his sophomore year, he joined Sigma Pi, and his grades started to slip. When you're rushing for a fraternity, you're up all night, you're driving the frat brothers around, you're going to events, you're doing all of these things, right? So Joseph did have an apartment, and his sister co-signed for the apartment. And at some point, he had the opportunity to move in with 2 frat brothers. So he left that apartment, right? And this will be pertinent to the story in just a bit. He left the apartment, the original one, moved in with his frat brothers, and hadn't paid the remaining balance on the first apartment. So his sister had co-signed for it. So she's contacting him like, Joseph, you have to pay for this. And he was like, oh, I didn't realize. So he wrote out the check, and it was sitting on his desk. His sister talked to him the day that he went missing. Hey, make sure that you go bring this check over, because she was in the process of purchasing a house. So it was important to her that her credit stayed good. So at the time of his disappearance and death, he was living with his 2 frat brothers, but not on campus. Okay. So he eats dinner with his friends at this place, Noodles and Company. And Gray was trying to track down which one, but we could probably ask his sister that. And he spends the evening with his roommates. They wanted to go look at the blood moon. So Joseph had binoculars. You know, they made an evening out of it. They went out. They're looking at it. At some point later in the night, Joseph sends a message to this girl, a friend, a girl, I'm not sure, to invite her to a frat party that was taking place later on. 9:28, around 4:15 in the morning, his sister, Vivian, receives a strange text, which we'll go over here in a minute. His phone pings and places him near Griffy Lake. When the roommates get up in the morning, they don't really make any assumptions. You know, college students, some have super early classes, some have late classes, so they didn't really think much of it. But he did end up missing one of the frat meetings. So later in the morning, the roommates go and check his room and find this note, and we'll read that as well. In the afternoon, Vivian, because she can't get him on the phone, she needs him to go pay with this check, and she can't get him on the telephone. So she calls the university police and asks for a wellness check.
Hey, can I ask you something really quick?
Sure.
Where it says 9:25, is that supposed to be 28?
I'm sorry. That is a typo. Yes.
I just want to make sure, because I was looking at that.
Yeah.
Going, wow. So it was. Oh yeah. So it's the same.
Sorry about
morning.
that.
Oh, it's no big deal. I just wanted to make sure, so it's on there. Yeah. So the 28th is when.
Yeah. Why am I having 25?
Well, let's see. Well,
Let
it's
me make
8's right.
sure of that, Gray.
Maybe you were doing the keyboard. You know, the boom boom. It's right above
do.
it. It's right above
I go really fast sometimes, and I should check better. So I'm going to double check that now anyway here, just to be sure of what I am talking about, because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information, and I will correct this. So his sister has a great timeline. Yes, it's 9:28, so not 25. So ignore that. So
maybe go back to that previous slide just to get that in the order.
Yes.
So it'd be.
Yeah, this is 28 here.
So that's the same day that he went missing. Like, he left at 11 something, and then apparently his phone's moving around at 4:45 on the 28th, and then that same morning, like later in the morning, his roommates wake up, and they just kind of they don't. What do they say? Wake up, but don't make any assumptions on where he is. He's missed a frat meeting. They're just kind of like, yeah.
They weren't really thinking about it until he missed the frat meet. And then they're like, all right, where is he? So they go into his room, and they don't find him there. But separately, his sister is trying to call him because she wants to be sure he's really going to go drop off this check and pay this balance, right? So the police end up calling her back on 9:28, not 9:25. They call her back and say, oh, he's in jail. She's like, what? He's in jail? So they call down there, and the police are like, no, we don't have him. So she talks to them again, and they're like, no, he's in jail, but it's not him. It turns out it's somebody with a similar name. So once all of that is worked out, they classify him as a missing person. Later in that evening, she and her husband go down there to really see what's going on, because everything's been very confusing up until this point. So on the 30th, the University Bloomington tweets out a missing poster of Joseph. Then on the 2nd, 2 fishermen spot a body in the lake. They call the police. And then the next day, the body is identified as Joseph's, and an autopsy is performed at 9 a.m. So here, this is the area. You can see all the police up there. This is a photo that was taken from that day, the average depth in Griffy Lake is 10 feet. The area that Joseph was found in was 3 feet, and he was about 5'7" tall. So she gets notified. We've recovered your brother's body. He was in this Griffy Lake. And that's all she's told, that he's deceased. And he they can't say he's drowned at this point, but the autopsy comes back saying that he did in fact drown. To his sister, none of that made sense. It just didn't make sense because he was a very strong swimmer. So they're saying that he drowned, not initially determining it suicide yet. They're just saying, his body's in the lake, he drowned. That's all the information she got. And she's thinking, this is not right because Joseph swims really well. Why is he out there late in the night? None of this makes sense. And the text message that she got really makes it make no sense whatsoever. Okay, so we're going to skip this really quickly and go to this. This is the note that was found in his room. Had to leave country. Don't try to contact me via cell. It won't work. We'll contact you once set up overseas. Smedley, 9/28.
Why would you put the date, too? I mean, that's another thing. Who the hell puts a date on a note? They wanted to make sure it was said that, right? I mean, I'm just saying nobody does that right there.
No, nobody does this. It doesn't make any sense. And does he sign his stuff Smedley? I don't know, right?
Let me ask you this. Have they compared his handwriting on that?
They have. Uh-huh. And his sister, when she saw it, she said, that's not his handwriting. But then I guess some comparisons were made with some of his schoolwork, and they were like, well, it's kind of close. But from my understanding, it's never been sent out to a professional. I don't know how good the science is on that of handwriting analysis.
But you can tell, how they make an A or like complicated letters if there's some similarity there.
Right. So here, September 28th, 2015, Viv, I love you. I'm leaving the country. By not telling you why, I'm keeping you safe and protected. Please don't try to contact me at this number. It won't work. I'll contact you once I'm set up overseas. Thank you for everything, Viv. I love you, and I'm sorry. That was 4:15 a.m. So she wakes up, 8:14 or whatever, and she sees the message, and she's like, LOL, shut up. Make sure you pay that apartment, right? Because, number one, Joseph doesn't have a passport. So where is he going overseas?
And you can tell how Viv absolutely didn't believe, like it was a joke. Hey, shut up. Okay, now back to the apartment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was a joke to her.
For sure. That's exactly what she thought. Like, yeah, okay. Okay, Joseph. Yeah, see you when you get overseas or whatever. Pay the apartment rent, sir. And that's it. She's not thinking this is anything at all to be worried about. Nothing at all to be worried about. She's not concerned at this point until she kept trying to call him and he's not answering her. So she doesn't know exactly what to do. So she calls for a wellness check and thinks, okay, well, if he's not answering, maybe something happened with his phone or, what is going on? He is not one who's not going to answer his phone. He was very close to his sisters. He has a younger sister as well from his dad's new marriage named Giselle, I believe. And he was extremely close to her. So this note here, this text message here, the family found it very unusual that he would leave a note for his frat brothers and this text message to Vivian, but nothing to Giselle whatsoever because they were extremely close. So
where did that phone ping when it sent that text message?
We do have the pings here.
Does it have that particular one?
Yes. So
there it is.
He lived on Mitchell Street, right? At 9:28 at 4:15 a.m., he pinged
There it is.
on 7th and Walnut.
Okay, I have that. I didn't see that. Yeah, so wow. That's just so weird. It's kind of...
Well, you know what else is weird?
And then he pings way up there, too. Yeah.
If you look at this, 7th and Walnut, it's an hour and 7-minute walk to Griffy Lake, right?
But he's there at 4:45 pinging.
4:45 a.m.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it's like literally 30 minutes later.
30 minutes later.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
He would have had to run there.
With
Yeah.
on his back. Okay, never mind. I'm just...
Well, yeah, we're about to get to that. Because people right now might be like, well, yeah, Trey, he might have. He was probably depressed. Something happened. His grades were bad. He had a bad girlfriend, something, right? That's what you're thinking. Okay. He would have had to run. His car was inoperable, was not working at all. Okay? The police pull him out of the water after he's found. When the autopsy report comes back, it's stated that Joseph had a backpack strapped to his chest with 66 pounds of rocks in the backpack. All his belongings are at his house.
Well, tell him about why. Do the blood moon part. Like there was this, he was going over there to look at something.
Right. They were going there to look at the blood moon, which they had done around 11 p.m.
So he'd already done that, and he would have brought, when you go to look at something like that, you maybe bring binoculars or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And his binoculars were around his neck. So that's how Joseph was found. In 3 feet of water, face up. He was face up. 3 feet of water, binoculars around his neck, a backpack strapped to him with 66 pounds of rocks in the backpack.
And the water is only 3 feet deep. So, people, drowning isn't the preferred method of suicide ever. I mean, or not, I can't say ever, but it's really rare. It's like 1%, I guess, is what the stats say, right? Of all suicides. And in this case, he could just stand up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the water's only 3 feet deep, and your body, you would just naturally not allow it. What you would normally see is in really deep water, somebody attaching weights to them where they can't remove, and it just keeps them under, and they have no choice other than to suffer that crazy. I mean, drowning is ridiculous. It's horrible. You can just tell. And so they're under, in his case, he could just stand up and survive. And that's what your instinct would be. You don't just keep laying there on your back and, just.
No way. I even went to look it up because I was so baffled by this. According to the CDC, more than 44,000 people commit suicide each year in the United States. Firearms and suffocation are the leading causes. 1% of suicides are attributed to drowning. 509 people total killed themselves this way. This was in 2015. So where he was pulled from doesn't necessarily mean where he went in. You can't jump off that bridge into the middle of the lake. Allegedly, he could have walked down the bank and just kept walking out into the lake and left himself down there and kept the backpack with all the rocks on to keep himself face down. But 66 pounds, I mean, it's probably right around what my son weighs, I guess.
But he was face up, right?
When he was found, he was face up, yes.
But I think it'd be hard. Well, they found him how many days later?
5 days later.
So I'm not sure if decomp at that point would make you bloated enough where you would rise up and be able to flip over.
I wonder if the gases would have allowed that in 5 days, but I
think it's usually a little
especially
longer.
If you're weighed down, right? No.
Yeah, so that's just really bizarre that 66 pounds of rocks, and then you're going to be floating downstream. No way, man. That would have just, boom, straight to the ground. Bottom, it's a lake, too. There's no current. So I don't know where they were looking. When they were looking off that bridge, there's a photograph we'll take a look at where they're looking off the bridge. Is he right down below the bridge there, or was he sort of somewhere else down there? I would imagine.
I believe so.
You think he was just right off it? See, that's what I think too. I think somebody just.
They said he was about 10 feet from the riverbank or the bank there, right? So here, when you're looking over there on this part, you can't really see it here, but there are photos. He's like right over there.
So is he in the water right now when they're looking down there? Because look at those people. They're looking at something in the yellow.
They're looking at it. Yeah, I believe this is a picture that was captured.
And so to me, it seems like it's right. Like move the mouse over to the left. Like it's actually on screen. Like see that? Move it to the right a little bit. Right, a little bit more. Right next to the A there. Here? Right there. I think that might be where they're looking. Like actually,
could be.
Yeah.
It looks directly like where they're looking, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that would be if somebody tossed them off the bridge right there. Right. I mean, that makes sense, you know. And maybe I'm going to
be very interested to see you use your map to go down into this area to see what we can see. Because his sister says it's very dark, it's very woody. He would have had to run there. He would have had to run. There's no, he's walking. No, he's running there with a backpack. They never looked to see if these rocks were native to this area. Would it have made sense that he just brought the backpack and he ran all the way there, filled the backpack up, and then did this? Or where did these rocks come from? Nobody knows. And again, you're committing suicide. You're leaving these very cryptic, strange messages for people, and then you run away, and this is what ends up happening to you. And immediately it was ruled a suicide. So this here,
like, who puts their binoculars? Would you keep your binoculars around your neck while you're strapping?
Go with no.
It just seems kind of, I mean, you could, but it's like you're committed to kill yourself. It seems like you would just kind of throw everything aside, put a backpack on, and go in. That seems like really hurried. It's also just weird it would be on his neck still if somebody else did something too. That's the thing. That the whole thing is weird, the whole binoculars,
It is very strange.
Yeah.
This is what his sister wrote up, right? He was found with his binoculars around his neck. Sometime before 8 p.m., Joseph made his last purchase at Noodles and Company. Joseph was likely at Griffy Lake prior to 11 p.m. to view the moon. Joseph's car is inoperable. It doesn't work. His cell phone pings his cell phone pings all night around Bloomington. Now, I don't have all of those pings, and I think that's something we can really talk to the sister about. Where were the other pings?
Yeah.
Where else do you think that he was? His locations and activities of his roommates before and after 11 p.m. is a mystery. So the eclipse began at 10:11 p.m. and end at 11:23. He was allegedly last seen between 11 p.m. and 11:30 at an off-campus apartment where he lives by his roommates. From 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., no texts or calls come from Joseph's phone.
Well, let me ask you something, because there's like an overlap there. So if he was looking at the eclipse between 10 and 11, maybe he was around there at 11, then how was he at the apartment between 11 and 11:30? See what I'm saying?
They may have been driving in one of the roommates' cars and just drove back home, because he was last seen between 11 and 11:30 by them. So it's probably like a 15-minute drive home. They don't know exactly, was he there for the whole eclipse? Part of the eclipse? How long did they stay? Maybe those are things that we can ask the sister based on the roommate's statements.
Oh, and they say prior to 11, likely. So, yeah, okay. So maybe he was there at 10:15. He looked at it, and then he headed home, and he was there.
And then they were making plans or talking about something else. I don't know. But his phone was found at an unknown location later. His cell records indicate only outgoing communication as far as phone calls, but he was receiving texts. My understanding is he had either called or texted a girl and asked her if she wanted to go to a party that they were having later that night. which to me, I'm like, later when? 1 o'clock in the morning? But you're a kid, you're on campus, so who knows when the parties start and end, I guess. Um, then she just put the timeline together here. Apartment or moon gazing at Griffy. So were they at the apartment or were they at Griffy Lake doing this moon gazing? Is she getting mixed stories from the roommates? Because she doesn't seem to know where he was. Was he at the apartment or was he at the lake? He was last seen by the Sigma Pi brothers. His cell phone was not used from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. At 4:15 a.m., she receives that text, and he's at 7th and Walnut. At 4:45, his cell phone pings near Griffy Lake. At 6:30 a.m., his cell phone pings near Old Street Road 37 and North Walnut. And then the cell phone's turned off.
See, the 4:45 is when somebody put him there. There's other possibilities, If he did do something to himself, somebody took his cell phone. But then was there a message sent from the cell phone at 6:30? Or nothing? It just pinged somewhere. So somebody could have picked up the cell phone and then tossed it or something.
How did they get it back then? Because it says over here, found at an unknown location later. So would somebody have turned it in? Or maybe
they just tossed it or something. I don't know.
True.
It's just sort of like 6:30, somebody finds the phone on that bridge or something. Whatever, and then goes and tosses it somewhere, and then now it's pinging in that other area. Maybe that's where it was found, where it pinged at 6:30.
Also possible. So these are all good questions that we need to ask his sister and see what she knows about that. So on June 15th, Joseph tweeted out, "Perhaps I have said too much." Now, this is 11:32 a.m. on June 15th of 2015.
So just 2
weeks. His mother is Lori, right?
2 weeks prior, right?
No, June 15th.
He went it was October. Yeah, I thought it was like late October. Yeah, was it September? Yeah, September 28th, right? There you go. Mm-hmm. Okay.
June 15th, I have June 15th in my mind because of Summer Wells.
Oh.
What day she went missing, but... Lori is his mother, right? And it says, no, son, you're very smart. Thank you for your courage. I'm here waiting very impatiently. I love you, Mom. So here's the information on this crazy thing. His mother is Lori. That is not his mother. His mother does live out of the country. Joseph said he was going out of the country. This Twitter handle was created Friday, October 2nd, 2015. Same day that the tweet was made.
That's when he was found, right?
Yeah. You found the 3rd? 2nd. Yeah. He was found the 2nd at 7 p.m. So she sends this at midnight, her time, wherever it was made from, we don't know. Oh. This is very strange that we know for a fact it was not his mother. It wasn't his mother, but somebody made this account to make it appear like he was really going overseas and going to see his mother, but he wasn't. None of that is true. It's trash. That's not true. And if somebody had the thought to do that, why would they do that?
So that tweet up there, perhaps I've said too much. What was that? Is there any more prior to that? And that was June 15th. And then all of a sudden this other account's created and it is replying to that because now they're reading something he said 4 months before.
Right. Well, I can tell you what Joseph's Twitter did say. All right. I'm going to...
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Show you something here.
Well, we don't know if it's racism, Patty Barnett, in the fraternity. It could just be hazing, the thing is, it could be, it might not be. So we've got various races die during hazing if they're made to drink a lot and they die. We have no idea at this point.
Is this very clear for you, Greg? Can you see this?
Yep, I can see that.
All right. IU undergraduate, biochemistry, pre-pharma. If found dead in police custody, it wasn't suicide, and I don't want peaceful protests. There were rumors that he was great at computers. These were rumors that were on the campus. Nobody's ever verified these. We don't know that it's true at all, but that he saw something he wasn't supposed to see while, surfing around some servers or something like that.
Can you go up to when that was sent again? I didn't see that part. When it was sent.
This is not when it was sent. This is his header.
Oh, wow.
You can put that in your header.
Wow, that's crazy to have that in your header. Jeez.
It is.
When did he create? Well, I guess we don't know when he edited that, though, right?
Joined on January 2011, but we don't know exactly when he created that. No, we don't know. And this was his last tweet. So,
are there other tweets though that he is saying I said too much? Is there something prior?
This is it here. Yeah, there are other ones, but they're just nonsense about friends and stuff.
So maybe that's him saying, "Man, I've said too much about something that he saw,
right.
Or that he shouldn't have said anything about." Maybe, I don't know.
And there's his fake mother thing here. That is so not her.
No, son, you're very smart.
Yeah, this is nothing. There's nothing there.
So what is she?
There's nothing there.
But that's a reply to perhaps I've said too much from 4 months prior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just weird. Man.
It is very strange. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's definitely not his mother.
Yeah,
it's not his mother, and it's made at 12:34 a.m. He was found that night at 7 p.m.
Yeah, and it was probably made in the. Wait, let's see. So it was actually before he was found then, if it's in the United States.
Yeah, I want to say his mother is maybe in the Dominican Republic. I could be completely wrong about that.
But I think even then it would still be the 27th, or not this way, the 1st of October in most of the United States, I think. Well, I don't know. Hold on.
Depending on what the difference is, yeah. What is happening with this case now? This is the people who did the podcast, actually.
So they're actually east of. They're going to be, like, if it's where you live right now, it's actually later. Probably 2 hours.
It's 3:45 here.
Yeah, it's probably 5:45 there. So if that was sent from the Dominican Republic at midnight, it would be the first rest of the United States.
Yeah, we got to find that out for sure, where she was, because I think that would be helpful to know exactly where she was. But we know either way, it's not her. It wasn't her. So it doesn't matter what time it was in the Dominican Republic, because it wasn't her. She's like, no, I'm not even on Twitter. So the police came out and said they're searching for a missing person. He went missing around 3 p.m. Said that he sent a text to his sister. She thought he was just making a joke. So I started just looking around, saying, okay, how much information was out there? So I did a targeted search, a date search on the internet, just for 9/26 to 9/30, just to see, did a lot of people know this guy was missing? Because in listening to the podcasts, there were so many, even students on Indiana University. They had no idea that he was missing. Nobody knew anything. They were like, who? What are you talking about? And some of those people do speak up on the podcast because they're like, there were other people who've gone missing from here, and there was a lot of information, but we had no clue that Joseph was ever missing, that he had died, nothing. So there were 4 total news articles in 4 days. Not very much at all. Not very much at all. Another thing. So the cell phone GPS appeared to show him visiting at least 2 popular entertainment venues in the university town, and neither were near the lake where he was found. And that came from another article, and they were right around the university area. So we can probably find that out from his sister as well.
Yeah.
Here,
well, that issue, I just want to say something that you just said a minute ago.
Sure.
About. I mean, on my channel, I cover all these old cases and go over all kinds of cases all over the place. They, that is an issue. If you're a black person and you got murdered or abducted, there's almost maybe 1 or 2 articles and then nothing. If it's
really
like a Gabby Petito type, it goes on endlessly for days and days and days and days and weeks and weeks and weeks and months, it just goes on and on. And there really is a disparity, and I didn't really realize that until doing what I do. It's just after a while, you hear about a case, you look it up, and there's nothing on it. And it's like a 17-year-old black girl was walking home from the store, and she was abducted, and she's missing, and there's almost nothing. So
let me ask you this.
Sucks.
Do you know where Lauren Spearer disappeared from?
Well, I know her name, but I don't remember where she. That's
Same town, same place.
Oh, but she got covered all over the place.
She was a student there at the same university.
Man, she's been
I
covered.
know about Lauren's case, and I don't even cover cold cases. I knew all about her case. There was so much information.
And she's, she's been covered by like a jillion podcasters, and
Same university. So when I did a date search for her, because I wanted to see, same university, both went missing. What happened? Tons upon tons upon tons of information, news articles, everything you can imagine, podcasts, everything. And on him, there were 4. And then it was ruled suicide immediately. His body was put into the body bag with his clothing. Everything was thrown in together. They never thought of it as anything except for a suicide. So, according to Joseph's sister, they were able to hire a forensic pathologist to have the second autopsy done. When the pathologist reached out to the Bloomington Police Department to collaborate and go over the circumstantial evidence and photos taken at the crime scene, they shut him out completely. I talked to her today. She said, no, they will release nothing. Nothing. And this is a quote from her. Our forensic pathologist was able to tell me that the autopsy showed hemorrhaging on his back and that he definitely does not believe it was a suicide, but he can't finish the report until he sees more information on how he was found at the scene. He also said that BPD did a poor job of retrieving his body, didn't bother to put his clothing into evidence, just shoved everything into his body bag. Now, a clarifying question I have to ask, did he not have clothing on? What was going on there? Were his clothes on the shore? And when they retrieved his body, what exactly was happening there? I don't think, did they take his clothes off at the scene?
What makes you
throw them into the body bag?
What makes you think that? What's it saying that?
He's saying the pathologist said they did a poor job of retrieving his body, didn't bother to put his clothing into evidence, just shoved everything into the body bag. So what they're saying is they put him and all of his crap.
It could be a poor, sort of wording. That what he's saying is they didn't put the clothing into evidence, and they just sort of threw his body in the bag. You get what I'm saying? Like
So
he,
we'll ask about that. Yeah,
yeah, I
you might
mean,
be right.
because it could just be that they didn't even bother putting his clothing into evidence after they took it off his body. And by the way, they just sort of threw him into the bag. Maybe is what they're saying.
Well, I remember listening in the podcast, they were saying that his clothing went into the body bag with him, that they threw them in there, and that
Okay.
could cause a contamination issue or something like that. They
That,
weren't separately put into bags and handled appropriately.
I wonder if that was just, again, they were using that same wording that you just came up with to
Possibly.
think of that. Who knows? I guess we'd have to
So I
find
did
that
want to
out.
see what the police said because, you got to give the police a fair shot here too and see what they had to say. So on December 3rd, 2015, the Bloomington Police Department and the Monroe County Coroner shared the findings of the investigation with Joseph Smedley's father, who was determined to be the appropriate next of kin and established point of contact for the immediate family. The police made the commitment to keep working with Joseph's father in an effort to answer additional questions they may have regarding the circumstances surrounding his death. That commitment has in fact continued, with the most recent contact having occurred January 11th of 2016. The Monroe County Coroner has ruled the death of Joseph Smedley to be suicide by drowning. Rulings of cause and manner of death are the responsibility of the coroners, not that of law enforcement. While those conclusions can be determined through joint investigation between law enforcement and the coroner, the Bloomington Police Department has not been asked to provide any further investigative assistance at this time. As far as they're concerned, this case is closed. She hires somebody to do the second autopsy. The case is closed. I asked her yesterday this question, or these 4 questions are what I asked her. 1, did the police ever release his belongings, including his cell phone? 2, did Joseph have any mental health issues, depression, anxiety, etc.? Was the second person that you hired to do the autopsy ever given the proper information to complete their findings? 4, was he a runner, a jogger? I've seen things saying that he got from one place to the other place in 30 minutes, and it's over an hour walk. She says, no. Police have not released his items. I've tried multiple times to obtain them. They refuse. 2, Joseph had no mental health issues. He was actually making plans for the next day as well. 3, police will not cooperate with the forensic pathologist that I hired. He has been unsuccessful at obtaining the documents to conclude his findings. 4, Joseph was not a runner or a jogger. It would have taken him more than an hour to get to Griffy Lake. He had no transportation. There were no transactions from an Uber or Lyft on his bank statement. Griffy Lake is extremely dark and extremely wooded, and it would have been very difficult for him to navigate that walk in the dark. So,
Well, that part at the end there, who knows? I mean, if there's lights and so forth that light your way.
I'd like to know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there?
Yeah, and Jennifer had a good point up there. She said, like, if he didn't have his clothes on, but he had binoculars on, that is kind of weird, right? Like,
Doesn't make
if
any
it's
sense.
true that the clothes weren't on him, I'm thinking that he had the clothes on him, and that was just awkward wording there. So we'll have to figure out the answer to that one.
Yeah.
Um,
So you guys may not know, but Gray has been instrumental in other cases, right? He was able to assist a case with getting a suicide turned to undetermined. And his sister is not asking for anything more than that. She doesn't need anything more than to say, you know what? Let's open this case because maybe we just don't know. I mean, at the very least, release the information to the forensic pathologist that this woman has hired to let him do his job and get another opinion on this. She's very upset, still years later now, that her brother's death was deemed a suicide. She absolutely is adamant she doesn't believe it. Nothing from the beginning of this to the end of it has made any sense to her forget, Gray and I looking at it and it saying, well, this doesn't really make sense. She knew him well. They were extremely
Right.
close. And she doesn't believe it. So she's very sad. She has a family now, and this is her here with her brother, and she just wants the right thing to be done. She really wants the right thing to be done. So, I mean, just, oh my gosh, look at him. And this is them together. I mean, they were extremely, extremely close, and she won't give up.
Yeah.
She's been going all these years.
So it's really, you got to put pressure on him. See, in the DJ Ficky case, the sister of DJ Ficky was really like just working really hard on it. And she had interrogation tapes and everything. And when you watch that, there's just no chance. There's zero chance that it was suicide. Right. So, we put together a video. I actually made it while I was on a show. I did a show making a video. And then I made the video, and then I had already been in contact with a medical examiner, the second one. And they were like, yeah, that is kind of weird, yeah. Well, and then he passed the buck, too, when he contacted me. Because that's what they do. It's just crazy. So I was like, nope. Then we made the video, and I sent it off to a detective and other people, and I talked to him on the phone, and then, I don't know, it was crazy. Like 2 or 3 months later, I get this phone call, and he goes, I just want to let you know that we've changed it to undetermined. Don't put it out there yet. And it was crazy. He called me before he called the family, which was really weird. It's like,
see,
but it made a difference. So in this case, if we can put together a presentation at the end and make a video, and you just share it around, it puts pressure on people to at least provide you the information as to why they came up with what they came up with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A couple of people asked how old Joseph was. He was 20 years old.
Yeah, let's go to the other. You done with the slideshow part?
Yes. So tell me when you want me to stop.
Okay, stop now. Hey, wow, that was amazing.
We're going to burn those great.
That was freaking awesome. Okay, so here's all the. This is the Indiana University. The frat house is right here, Sigma Pi Fraternity. I'm not sure what that little opening is on the top of these. It's sort of a courtyard or something, but that's the fraternity right there. So now you're going to get to sort of feel like you were there a little bit. Like here's the fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
And the park that he was found at is right. It's the Griffy Reservoir right here. And his phone pinged. I don't know if that was a specific location that they said at 4:45. I just put it where they said it. It just could be the lake. It could even be right here. I mean, I don't really know. But
right.
So if we go down to the street view, this is where those police are. I don't know if you were looking at that picture. Let me show you that one really quick on the screen. Right here. So you can see them looking down pretty much like this. I'm kind of wondering if maybe he's right there, whatever that stuff is. But they're looking down right there, and everybody's looking down. So I think that this is a shot of him when he's still in the water. And that's why there's such a huge police presence there. They're waiting on people to get there or something. So when you look at that, that's right here. They're standing right, not right there, right here, looking down. And I know that because if I switch over to this shot right here, you can actually see it like this. And, it looks like it's quite a bit lower even, the water, than this shot that we're looking at. So it does show that it does have a variance that it can have. But look how low it is in that shot. Comparatively. See, that's the part right there going down. You can even see this. See that right there?
Yep.
That thing? It's right there. So that's the spot. So let's go to the street view on the bridge there. And so, it is kind of dark. I don't know if there's lights going all the way down this. But this is right where
I don't see any lights. Do you see any lights down there?
No, not. We could go take a look. But this shot here looks about the same. See how much space there is? The 3D one must be a different time of year. but down there. And so this shot here looks about how it was then. And if you look there, it's pretty shallow. I mean,
Yeah.
if you go to this side, you can. If you go to the middle even, and you look off to the side, you can see the bottom. I think it's right up. Hold on.
Yeah, it is not a very deep lake at all.
Yeah, see, like you can literally see the bottom right there. It's nothing.
Yep, you
So there
can.
might be segments where it's deeper, and
What a crazy, weird place to go run literally, and throw yourself over or walk down into the water and drown yourself.
hey, thanks,
I don't
Sarah.
know why.
And also, hey, listen, you guys, if you guys want to be channel members, that'd be great, because we're what we want on this channel is just have so many channel members that we don't really care about super chats, right? Wouldn't it be cool to just have enough channel members? But to do these shows, we take a lot of time, and that's the only revenue. As you can see, that the there's no ad revenue. Like, how much did you make last month on ad revenue? It's really ridiculous.
Goodness.
Yeah, you don't even want
None.
to. Don't even want to share it. Don't even want to share it. But yeah, if you guys want to become channel members, that'd be awesome. And also, if you feel like you want to help support the channel with super chats, it'd be awesome. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So when you go, hey, thanks for joining, Beholder, Beholder, and then it looks like Emily got her 2 months. We've been doing this for 2 months. Yeah, I guess so.
Just about.
All right, let's go up. Let's go up this road here and see if we can find any lights. Just
It's pretty dark.
that would be pretty dark. It doesn't look like I haven't seen any poles of any kind.
And I mean, it has the boundary there, the guardrail, almost all the way down as well. So I'm wondering, I was thinking, well, he could have kind of walked down to the shore there. There's got to be an entrance somewhere, right? There's got to be an entrance to this lake.
Yeah. Well, apparently he had
Somewhere.
water in his lungs, right? That's what they're saying. So that's something.
Nope. She said that the autopsy, I asked her when you asked me to ask her today,
Uh-huh.
and she said it says nothing about water in his lungs.
But what was the part about it was consistent with drowning?
They just said it was consistent with drowning.
Meaning he's in the water, he's got stones.
Must have drowned.
That's consistent. Oh god, that's horrible.
That's what they said.
If he doesn't
and I
have
said,
water in
well,
his
did they-
lungs, it didn't happen.
Did they talk about his lungs? And she said, no, there's nothing in here
geez.
about the lungs. And I asked her, will you share the autopsy report? And she said, well, we haven't shared it, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have on it. So maybe she would share a part of it.
I'd like
showing-
to. I'd need to see it, but we wouldn't share it. Like, I'd need to see it, but we wouldn't share it specifically, but be able to read it.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, then you actually know. When people,
Mm-hmm.
I've just had a lot of cases where, I'm not saying that would happen in this one, but where people, they kind of leave out a little bit of something that said something, and then you're sort of you're never really sure unless you read it
yourself. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't see any lights up and down here, so that would be a really dark. Maybe if somebody lives there, if you want to take a buddy or something, and I'm sure it's not really a dangerous place in general, but like go, or in your car even, just stop, turn off the lights for a second, and show us what it looks like.
Yeah, is anybody near there? Do we know anybody who could drive down this road for us? Because that would be great.
Yeah, we got more 2 month members there. All right,
We do.
it's kind of a neat feature.
Looks dangerous to me. Yeah, looks scary to me. I'm not going down
So if
there,
he has
but-
water in his lungs, that means he was still alive if somebody else put him in the water. But again, the shallowness of it.
Well, even if he
Yeah.
drowned himself in there and he was alive, would he not have water in his lungs?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're either,
Yeah.
you would have to look at it like, if he killed himself, he'd have water in his lungs. But if
For
he
sure.
had water in his lungs and he didn't do it, that means he was alive but probably unconscious when somebody threw him in the water.
Exactly.
And maybe he was just barely alive, and they're like, oh man, we got to, that would fit perfectly with something happening at a fraternity or something where they thought he was dead, so they're like, throw him in the lake.
There you
But,
go. Well, somebody just asked, was he pledging or had he been a member for a while? So here's a part that I left out. He was pledging.
Yeah, he was a
His
rush.
grades started slipping, he was a pledge, right? After he died, they were like, oh no, he wasn't a member. He wasn't a member. He hadn't paid his dues. He wasn't going to school, which he absolutely was enrolled and going to school. And he absolutely was a member. He had missed a frat meeting that day, that very day.
Yeah.
So they were trying to deflect, and distance themselves. So a memorial was held, right? Not too long after his death, a memorial was held. And there was a murder-suicide on campus as well of an Asian couple. The boyfriend, I believe, killed the girlfriend. So it was like a combined memorial type thing. One of the frat brothers spoke. Nobody else called Joseph Smedley that day, right? Except this one guy. And he called him Smedley 4 different times. It just isn't something he was known to be. You know, that's not how people were referring to him at all. But this guy did refer to him as that. It was
any text messages from that guy?
Not as far as I know. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. I don't know.
Man, this. I'm totally into this one now. This one's crazy. You know,
this is crazy.
A lot of weirdness in there, like fake text messages, fake Twitter.
Yeah, like what is going on?
Or notes, I guess. I don't know if there's fake.
It's as if nobody cared enough to even bother, and she's tried so hard, you know, to get eyes on it. And you know, I will say, Crime Junkies. It's a pretty big podcast. They covered it as well, a while back, and then Cold Case Chronicles has covered it. But I mean, I want to see him go viral. Everybody needs to look at this because there's something wrong. It's just something doesn't feel right here at all. At all. Can you try and find an entrance to this lake, Ray? Is there like a beach area or
where you would go walk down there?
Yeah, maybe she, you know. Yikes.
Well, it's weird because there's a cove over here. I think he was just right there. Well, this is when it's even high, so that is a beach, probably.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, okay, let's imagine for a second he did it. You're going to jump from right there into 3 feet of water?
Well, that's October. Hold on. That's October 2019. So see, it's low right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can get one. This is May 2015, same year. Oh, wait, there. Wow. Jesus, what was that one? That was, look at that one. That's April. Oh, they also drain that sucker. Wow, look at that damn thing. Completely. It's a reservoir, though. But there's no water in there at all, but you can kind of get a look at it. So, let's see. Let me try this. So this right here is 639 feet. And that's 631. 638. So it's not even that far of a drop. That's the ground right there. So that's 630 feet. And the top of the bridge is, I don't know, that seems like that's off a little bit. 638. 641 over here. That makes more sense. 11 feet total just to the ground even. I mean, that means it's like, that's ridiculous. I mean, 11-foot drop. 3 of it was water. So it's 8. Right.
8 feet drop, right?
Yeah, so let's go back and look at that image.
And that's how a brilliant person is going to try to end his life.
That makes sense. That looks maybe like that's. Well, let's see. These guys are 6 feet. That looks more like 10 feet to the water. So it was really low even at the time.
It is low.
I mean, you can even see up here with the stains of the water. It would be much higher. It's lower than.
Remember, we were doing that when I was doing the Boston cases. We were trying to look at the pools and see the water.
That was fun though. That was kind of a cool show. Yeah.
It was. That was a good day.
I'm gonna go back. We should go watch that. We should play that on a show one time, just for, like on a members only. Just like, hey, watch this one.
Yeah, we should. Fun. That one was fun.
Yeah.
Welcome, Cassandra.
Yeah, I pinned.
Here, did he suffer from depression? Sorry, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. No, he was making plans with people. He was never diagnosed. He was never nothing. His family has no indication to believe that he suffered from any type of mental illness, impairment, depression, none of that. Straight honors A and B, started rushing this fraternity. And, you know, I will say that of all the fraternity brothers, he was one of two black people. So whether that's relevant or not, I don't know. But he was. So.
Yeah. And look at fraternities are a strange. I was in one. And, it's interesting just looking at that picture randomly. Notice how the bridge dips down, kind of like that. It was actually saying that, so maybe Google Earth is accurate. But, and I was in a fraternity, and while I was a pledge in a fraternity, my brother died in that very same fraternity, and he had a little bit of coke in his system. He just played basketball. Coke was really huge in the 80s, if you guys remember. It was just like, it was stupid. It was like water almost. And, he was playing basketball and he passed out and his heart started beating funny. I think he would have lived today with the technology that they got, but he didn't live. But the fraternity pretty much covered it all up. They had a chapter meeting and they didn't want anybody saying anything. And I remember when I was in the fraternity, I even still joined because I felt like, oh, these guys, because I didn't know anything about that. And then later I just left the entire school. But there was times where if you didn't move in, like you didn't move into the house, you get hazed by the older members, like really kind of severe shit. Like sometimes they'd even kick you out of the fraternity because you didn't move in and pay your membership dues and crap like that. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm suspect on fraternities. And these guys, I also want to say, they had a lot of violations already. Alcohol and all kinds of stuff that we're going to get into on the next show. There were issues going on with the frat stuff. So this is a rough one, Them trying to distance themselves from him is concerning. Why? Aren't fraternities meant to stick together and
Yeah, they're not really.
Is that a thing?
It works for some people. Like if you're the cool, in the cool group, you have these friends for life and everything. But I would not recommend it. I would convince your kid not to do it. If you have to. It's just not a good thing.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry if that
not
offends.
A good thing.
I'm sorry if it offends the people. Well, no, I'm not. Forget it. All right. Let's go over you want to do the ping locations just really quick. Now that we have an interactive map, we could.
Sure.
So 4:15. Yeah, 4:15 a.m. was that one. Was that when he was eating the noodles?
Mm-hmm.
No, but that was no. That was noodles was 8.
No.
It's in the same. There's a
8
noodles.
p.m. Noodles was 8 p.m.
Yeah, there's a noodles that's really close to that spot, but then there's another Noodles and Company over here. So we don't know which one of these two he went to. It'd be nice to eliminate one of those. And then, so that was at 8 something. And then apparently maybe he was at the lake at 10:30, 11, something like that. Then he's seen back over here, right? At the fraternity. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Or is it at his apartment?
Yes. No, he was at the fraternity. Okay. His apartment was located at...
Do you have the actual address itself?
I did. He lived on Mitchell Street.
I do have Mitchell Street, but do you have the...
Yes. I don't have the exact address, no, but he did live on Mitchell Street.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I was just looking at the map and it was on that curved section there. So he lived there, but he was at the fraternity now, I guess. So he was right here. And then what happened between 11:30 and 4:45? Anything? Any information? Like at 2 in the morning, 3?
Nothing at all. There's no information that has come out at all on what he was doing, where he may have been. We do know that he allegedly may have been somewhere at some local places around town. Let me see if I have anything on that. I'm just looking through my Google Drive. And as I'm looking, I also want to say Joseph was legally emancipated as a teenager when he left his dad's house. The Bloomington police are only dealing with Joseph's estranged father. They don't want to deal with anybody else. It's the only person they're dealing with. And the last text message that he sent out was to his sister. The one who co-signed his apartment was his sister. And they will not deal with anybody else.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know what this means, but on that second autopsy, there was hemorrhaging on his back. I don't know how that would occur, what would cause that, but I do want to say that he did find that.
Now, was there any drugs of any kind in his system?
So my understanding was the toxicology, according to the coroner, was never going to be released to the public. But I did find an article that said there was alcohol and marijuana. Don't have a clue if any of that's true.
Or
if somebody told them that.
Or the numbers.
Or the numbers.
Like if he had like 0.03, who gives a shit about the alcohol?
Right.
And then if it was, here's the part, what day of the week was this, by the way?
That he was found or that he went missing? That
he went missing. The 27th is really what I'd like to know, the 27th.
Let me see here. Hold on. I shall look it up.
Yeah, things are starting to point towards the fraternity at this point.
Let's see.
Because if you think about it, they say they see him. Oh yeah, we saw him at 11:30. We don't know where he went after that. Okay, but
I knew he had school the next day, so he went missing on September 28th. Let's see what day that was. So it was a Monday.
So that's the 20th. So it was Sunday, though, when he really, I think.
When all this went down.
So it was a Sunday. So that's not really a normal party
night. On the
night.
evening of Sunday, September 27th, yes.
I was kind of looking for like a party night, but he's a pledge, so every night's kind of something for them. So let's say like 11 something, he's at the fraternity over here. Then the next known ping is 4:15 a.m. downtown over here with his phone. Okay. Then another ping is at 4:45, half hour later, which is impossible to walk there in that amount of time, 30 minutes later. But it's at this lake, so it very well could have been here. So 4:45 might have been the time. And then his phone is at 6:30, is right here on, near Old Street Road.
Right.
37. There's actually an Old Street Road 37.
Yep.
And then apparently then the phone was found by somebody later. So it kind of makes it seem like somebody had his cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
It could have even been like something had already happened to him before 4:15, maybe.
Could he have drank too much and passed away? Because that particular fraternity was
definitely
on deferred suspension. So deferred suspension was effective June 3rd, 2015.
Yeah, definitely could be something
December
like that.
31st, right?
No, that happens all the time. Deaths.
Yeah, so if you're on a deferred suspension and somebody drinks too much while, with the fraternity and they get caught, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's something that, I'd like to know what the numbers were on that alcohol count.
I would like to know too. His sister just messaged. She said it was Sunday. She's listening.
Hello.
If she knows the number, if she knows if the alcohol thing is even true, like I said, I don't have any confidence in the news articles that I've read on him.
I guess the autopsy,
like they were really getting things right at all.
Yeah, the autopsy that she has might not actually say the blood. Usually that's like the tox screen later, and it becomes part of the full autopsy.
And would they even share that with her? I really don't know.
But here's the thing: why not? See, here's what I think. I think that they're a little suspicious of it too, and they're not going to release anything else. Because if let's say the family goes, hey, give us his clothes back, give us the binoculars, give us all these things back. Now they've lost the chain of custody of it. It's completely, so they're still storing that because they're waiting for the time where somebody reverses it and makes it to be undetermined. That's what it sort of seems like, because other than that, if it was just a clear-cut suicide, like, somebody shoots themselves in the head and, everything else, there's a note and the person was depressed and everything. Right. They give everything back, the family collects everything, but in this case, they're not doing that.
Can I send you a photo right now? This was a photo from, I believe, the crime scene. It's what it's looking like to me, and it gives you a really good view here of under that bridge. So I want to show you this.
You doing it on Facebook?
I'm going to send it over to Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Look at that. And there's his sister looking over.
So that's just underneath that.
You see it? Yeah.
Well, I see that one. Is there another one that you just... Oh, that's good. Boom.
No, I sent you another one.
Okay. Yeah, so she's looking down at the same spot, yeah.
Yeah.
So did somebody... I want to know if they ever pointed out to her exactly where he was found. Do you think it's close to what we are saying? Just like looking at this? Like he was found...
Right there?
Right here. Right next to this. Which seems like... if somebody was going to place him there, they would have used the trees as cover to get right to the edge here and then just toss him in and then go back out. You wouldn't walk out here, okay? And I would think that if you're committing suicide, you would walk out to where you would perceive to be the deepest part and maybe go out to the middle and just jump in, right? Instead, you go right off to the closest part right there. No hesitation at all. Yeah, that shit doesn't make any sense.
To me, that's the darker area right there where there's an opening, and they're like, oh, yeah, we can just throw them in right here.
Yeah, exactly. So he just comes out, boom, and then they get out of there covered by the trees, and it's dark.
Right. So let me just see here. Somebody else had some pins that I was looking at, but they're not as good as yours, so I'm not going to look at that.
I'm gonna actually put this
just
in
a picture of his frat brothers. Very suspect on that. I'm very suspect on that right now.
So I wonder, the day that they found him, how high was the water though 4 days prior to that?
4 days prior.
See, that's the thing. I think
wondering if it was like raining, or...
right? Because they found him on the 2nd at 7 p.m. But let's say it rained and then it, the water settles out of the lake again after 2 or 3 days, and then it looks low when they found him. And so maybe it was just a little bit deeper and murkier looking, so that's why it took so long. It seems like somebody would have seen him sooner, right? I mean, if he was right there and people are walking on that bridge, wouldn't they? Most people might stop and when they're walking across the bridge look in the water, but maybe it was too close to the bridge, so your eyes are looking out more into the lake, not straight down, right?
Let me see if I can find images here. Might be able to, because I'm going to just do a date search, right?
I'm just trying to ask the questions that are...
Sure.
You gotta have answers for all of them. Every one of them. So if we can find that it didn't rain at all, and there's even, places out there that say the height of a reservoir, then that'd be great to have that. Because look how shallow, you can even see just right here, look how shallow that is.
You can see the bottom.
There's the ground. And this is from, when is this? Yeah. See, that's really consistent. It's 10 feet from the top of the bridge to the water. Yep.
Archive. Okay. Weather.
639, 628, 11 feet from the top to the water. Well, when I go like this, I don't know if that's going to the ground below the water or that's the water. So that kind of makes sense. 11 feet to the water. And then it's 3 feet deep. Yeah, definitely a puzzle here. But we got to get all the little parts put together.
Yeah.
And that includes what they
Okay.
say on the autopsy.
Let's see what I can find there.
But the sister, she's been really, I watched some of her videos. She's really does a good job on those interviews out there.
Yeah, she does. It's just, it's really, it's very, I can understand. I can totally understand how she's feeling. You know, I mean, she's now got a family and all of that, and she's still
Wants justice. You know,
on
you
top.
want answers.
Absolutely.
You want
And it's,
answers.
you know, you forget, you move on with your life. If it's not something you're so passionate about, you have to move on eventually, right? So that you can go live. But she's still out there trying to get justice here.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You know,
it's right. It's the right thing to do.
We use that word, you know, we are looking for justice, but I think what people should want is, I want the truth. And whatever that is, if it turns out that is justice, then for, you know, that something happened, that's what we want. But people want the truth and feel comfortable with the truth and have it explained to you so it makes sense and you understand it and you agree with it. You know, and sometimes even if you don't agree, if you're presented with fact, all these logical things put in order, even if you don't want to agree, sometimes that is the answer. In this case, they've been provided no answers, nothing. Sounds like. So
I found the historical data for Bloomington on 9/30, 0.23 precipitation. So I'm guessing that's in inches.
Quarter of an inch.
Yeah. Quarter of an inch. Then we're going to go to...
I wonder how much that would raise a lake, because that all the water would go into the lake. The reservoir, I mean. It wouldn't, you know, it's not like it would only go a quarter inch higher, because that's the place where the water would go.
And then there was nothing on the first, nothing on the second, and 0.24 on the third.
Okay, so there was just a little bit. How about the 26? That's kind of what you need, is like the build up to the 26.
He didn't go missing. Oh, you're saying,
because the water level would be raised over time, so we need to go back.
Gotcha.
Maybe 25th, 26th, you know, like that.
Nothing. The last rain before the 30th was the 20th, 0.07.
Wow, so that water would be just kind of at a low level, and it rained after he was thrown in there, if he was, right? So after he was put in the water, it rained on the 30th, and he was put in there on the 27th or 8th. Either he did it himself or somebody else, and the water would be shallow, and if he had 66 pounds of rocks on him, he would just stand up when he started to choke. Nobody goes, I'm accepting this now. Okay? No. That's why people use other methods that are instantaneous, because it just happens. Drowning is the worst way to kill yourself if you don't want to suffer. Okay?
Good Lord.
I mean, it really is, right? Because you're there's this one case that it's really crazy one that's one of these ones that I was going to do the genealogy on, but there's a person that was found floating in a lake with flippers on and had some weights on him and was shot in the head. And it's like, well, what is that one? Could he have killed himself because he swam out with the weights on and knowing that after he shoots him, the weights will take him to the bottom?
Sure.
I mean, it could have been, but I mean, I don't know. So anyways, see how crazy
Unreal.
It gets? Yeah, so in that case, he did both. He shot himself and then he floats down into the water. And this one, it's just, there's too many other oddities to it. Why would he be creating fake accounts out there?
Of his mom.
And his phone's all over the place, you know? Like, I want to have the ping locations. Remember how it was pinging all around the town? And when, like each pin location, what it's doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I like the
So
little,
we will be able to talk to her Tuesday. So hopefully we'll get a lot of this answered. And then we'll probably come live with that. And then you guys know how Gray can put this stuff together. He can probably make a summary of this stuff if, it compels him to do so. And we can get it out there.
Well, I think that's the key.
Really the plan.
Yeah, once we get everything together that makes a case, then you make like a 6 to 8 minute video, and then everybody goes out and shares it everywhere. And then I would actually send it straight to the, maybe the coroner, but the sheriff, the homicide detectives there, and say, look, you guys, take a look at this one. You might want to take another look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it'd be cool to have the ping information. And also I'd like to know a little bit more about the girl that he wanted to go to the party with that night. Like, what was going on there? Was it something where he really liked this person, and then could it have been that he, was there something that could have caused depression related to that? Because you got to rule stuff out, that's
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, so that's next then. Anything else that we need to go over on this?
I don't think so. No fractures reported by the coroner. We're going to ask all about that, Donna. If there was anything else on the autopsy report. We haven't seen it with our own eyes. She doesn't know us from a can of paint. But maybe after watching this, she'll feel a little more comfortable to share that information. She's absolutely excited that we're talking about it. She wants all eyes on it. But you can't just trust two strangers from the internet with your personal information. So
yeah, we're not sensationalistic or, some crazy, come up with wild ass theories. We just look at the information, try to put it together, and what makes the most sense.
June 3rd is the date he posted on Twitter. Okay, I'll look at that. Okay. Ask for bruising as well. Well, I know the second autopsy showed hemorrhaging on his back. I'm not sure about what the first autopsy showed yet.
Could that have been like lividity, or is this person really...
Right.
And then how soon was that done, that second autopsy?
I need to know that too.
I mean, was there an exhumation or anything like that to do that?
I don't know.
I mean, that's just stuff. I know.
Because I know it took her a bit because she had to, go through and hire this person. So I don't know exactly how long after his initial autopsy the second one was done. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Because if he was on his back and he died, then the blood would have pooled to the back, and you would get the marbling look that's lividity on his back.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got questions to ask.
Yeah, so we'll just, you and I will probably meet a little bit before, and then we'll just have a long, I don't know how long, but a conversation with her where we get information. So
yeah.
And we can put it all together, because that's the whole key here is, like, if it all makes sense that, wow, yeah, this is definitely, there's too many red flags in this already, so we got to put it all together, and it tells a compelling story based on real information.
Yep.
Right.
I am 100% with you, sir.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Well, what do you guys think of the new set here, though? Right? Come on. I think it looks pretty cool.
It does. I love it.
Yeah, it's weird. I was thinking, it's not too bad. Should we put?
No, you're a great designer.
Do you think So Mean should go down to the bottom, though?
I do. I think So Mean, because when we put a title up, like Joseph's title was up there and it said, Joseph Smedley, 2015, ruled suicide, and then under it says allegedly. And I'm like, oh, wait, are people going to read that and not see the So Mean and think that it means allegedly?
Oh, yeah, I
hope
see.
They don't think that.
Yeah, so like So Mean should be on the left down, let's see, right down, in this, right below here, right?
Yeah, I think it needs to either be, or closer to the allegedly, maybe.
Oh, just right there. Or maybe, I left that space open for if we go like this, right? Like
the chat and stuff. Yeah, that's
so
nice.
Let me move that down a little bit. So that should be kind of like down here. Let me pick a bigger one that's longer like this.
Yeah, I think so mean needs to go all the way down right beside the allegedly. There you go.
All right, so how about, I guess we
I
can
like that.
move
There you
this,
go.
move that over to there, and then so mean goes right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
I'm pretty sure the mom said he was exhumed.
Could we go like this and put so mean on the left?
No, that's not his mom. That's his sister.
What if we do it like this and put so mean over here?
No.
No?
So mean should go beside allegedly so that it makes sense and
Okay.
people aren't associating with the title.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was having, it's kind of bothering me, but I like the so mean font better for sure.
Yeah.
It looks
Gray
mean.
says the so mean font looks meaner.
Yeah, it looks meaner, and I want it to look that way. Yeah.
It's mean, I tell you.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right.
But this is good. I'm really happy to get this out there. I'm really happy to get this out there because this absolutely captured me when I started reading.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely interesting.
And there's some, you read them and they just never suck you in. And this one, I'm like going to bed listening to this podcast. I'm waking up listening to it again to make sure I'm understanding what's going on. And just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, hopefully when I send this to Gray, he's going to be like, yes, let's do this. As if he didn't, I would have been sad.
Yeah.
Like, no, what?
Well, how about this one last thing? Somebody said so mean allegedly on top.
Let's see.
But see if it was on top.
Oh, you can't move it.
I can't move it here, but if it was on top, wouldn't that be like that's what we're talking about or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I tried it. It just seemed like I guess we could try it and then make even the comment bigger below. I'll send some over to you and see what we.
Yeah, send them over.
Yeah.
Don't move. I'm just gonna screenshot you right now so that we can design offline here. And I'm gonna show you what I'm thinking. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah, and also thank you for to Speakeasy Dallas, Beholder. Well, let's see. Yeah, Beholder, Shiz Blitz, Brenda Haberland. I'm just looking for the new members here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
there's
it.
more. There's Jan Jays, Ange Carter, Cassandra Morris, Pebs W, and there you go. And also thanks to Emily Flotilla, Sarah M, and I know there was another super chat prior to that. I didn't see it. I can't find it. So thank you for everyone who super chatted too. Yeah,
Appreciate it, guys.
You guys should become a channel member. Help support the channel, and we're gonna be doing members only lives too at some point.
Yes, we will be. We will be.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I gotta go feed my kid.
Okay. Yep.
I can hear him in there. I think he's trying to get my attention by trying to destroy his room. I don't know if you guys can hear him since I have the mic on the right setting now. Maybe you can't hear him, but that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I think I'll just do crazy things until she gives in and
Okay,
comes
but
in
keep
here.
your head right there. Don't move it. What cartoon character does she look like right now?
Oh no, I look like a cartoon character.
Oh my God. You look like come on everybody, type it in.
Betty or Wilma.
I think it's no, it's from the Flintstones, but it's Fred's wife. Isn't her Wilma?
Wilma.
Yeah.
Great. We'll be changing our hair.
Well, it needs to be
And I
more
want to
fun.
show you guys this too.
Yeah.
Look at that. These crazy people that I live with. There's
wow.
my daughter and Scott in a helicopter today. Crazy nuts.
Oh man,
I
they're
guess you
crazy.
only live once.
God, what's going on there? Yikes.
You only live one time, so they got to do all the things.
Probably
There are
doing
things that these guys got to do.
Probably banking hard.
Yeah.
Here, hold on one second. One more second here. Like, I just want to see if I'm not crazy. Okay, look, you got one more. Let me move over to this one. Now, can you see what I'm saying here? Now, look at the angle of the. Look at that right there. Oh God, it's absolutely the same.
Oh man. It was my look. I didn't know that you were going to expose it. You know, me and Wilma were like right there, friend.
Oh God.
You know, I didn't know you were going to tell people, and now they figured it out. See, you're a tattletailer.
Oh my God. All right, well, go feed him, and we're gonna get off the air here. And
All right, sir.
I'm gonna go back to our new closing with the new "so mean" text. It's so amazing. Bye bye, everybody.
See ya.